see as a health and weight loss coach is that people say, I'm eating really healthy foods, but I'm still not losing weight. Or people say, I know the right foods to eat, I know I need to exercise, but I'm just not eating these foods. Like, I just don't want them, I don't know how to cook them, whatever. I'm hearing all these different excuses for not eating these specific foods, right? And even today in my fitness, nutrition, and motivation for life group, I posted in the group, what foods are you guys eating more frequently these days, just in the time of COVID and all of us being locked up at home? And a lot of people are, snacking more on chips, crackers, more sweets, ice cream. I know something I've been eating a lot more of is ice cream. And so a lot of people are kind of like dealing with what we call emotional eating, right? And one of the causes of emotional eating is stress. And I'm going to go into that topic here in a little bit because I want to be honest with you guys. Like, yeah, we're eating more of these foods now, but from my experience, I know that this is not just, hey Maggie, this is not the only time that we are eating these foods. We deal with stress in many parts of our life, right? Not just when we're stuck at home, right? So if this is a problem now, it's probably been a problem for other parts of your life. And those of you who are on the weight loss journey, I guarantee this is something that you've struggled with for years, which is exactly why you're not where you want to be in terms of your weight loss goals, okay? And your health goals for that matter too, because if we're dealing with any kind of inflammation, any kind of chronic disease, diabetes, for example, and we want to eat these foods that are not healthy for us, we're never going to overcome those symptoms. We're never going to get better and get healthier. So this is a really, really important topic that I'm super excited to jump in with you guys today and talk to you about why, how to conquer this emotional eating, okay? So what I want to first do is explain what it is, because I feel like not a lot of people know that. So emotional eating, guys, is really caused by 4 factors, okay? The number one factor that causes emotional eating, okay, is stress, right? And so oftentimes we're eating because we have all these crazy thoughts going through our minds, and food can soothe us, right? A lot of people say, well, I'm craving crunch, like around mid-afternoon, I want crunchy foods. I go for crackers, I go for chips. I can even snack on veggies, whatever. Yes, veggies are an amazing snack. Always go for vegetables. But when we want that crunch, guys, usually it's due to stress, okay? We're thinking about all the things we have to accomplish later on in the day or what we haven't done that day, and so we're going for that crunch. I know I sometimes find myself in that trap in the afternoon, or if you're more like me, I crave sweets when I'm stressed. So usually in the afternoon around 3 o'clock, I'm looking for chocolate, right? A lot of my teachers out there, I know are craving sweets in the afternoon. I used to do it at 3:15 every day in my classroom when I was teaching high school, and so I had to learn how to overcome that, right? So oftentimes stress is one of the underlying factors of eating, those kinds of foods. But also, guys, like mindless eating, boredom eating, if we're lonely, if we're sad, anger too is a big reason for emotional eating, especially now, guys, with, being in the time of COVID. I know a lot of us deep down are dealing with anger, because our jobs are on the line, or we're overworking right now, and so we're deep down angry about that. Or a lot of us are grieving, we're losing people due to COVID, and we're going through a really tough time. And so oftentimes we eat because we're sad or because we're grieving. So there are multiple reasons, emotions that cause emotional eating. And sometimes people don't even realize that, right? Second reason that we have emotional eating is for body image, right? Oftentimes, we want to look a certain way, and when we feel like we can't, we kind of give up, and we're like, oh, whatever, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want because I'm never gonna look like this. Okay, that can be another reason for emotional eating. The third is personal experiences. So if you grew up and you were deprived, you were not allowed to eat certain foods, right? Let's say you were not allowed to eat cookies or drink soda, for example, when you were a child. When you get older, those are foods you go to, right? Because you were not able to have them as a kid. Or if they're foods that remind you of something from your childhood. So for example, I talked about this in my How to Conquer Cravings Without Feeling Deprived seminar a couple months ago, how when I was a kid, like I loved gummy bears, right? I love the Care Bears. And so I always, ate gummy bears because they reminded me of my favorite cartoon. And so I love gummy bears, right? And even into my college years, post-college, I was addicted to sugar. I love gummy bears, eating them all the time. So that was on my childhood. Or for example, if we grew up, sneaking those foods, right? We're eating more as a kid. That was like me and cookie dough, right? I couldn't have a cookie dough when I was a kid. My mom would yell at me. And so as I got older, I would buy it and just eat tubs of it, right? With my friend Megan. So that comes from our personal experience. Oftentimes we have emotional attachments to food as well. Like for example, if you grew up in a household with alcohol, right? All the time, and that's just part of your life, right? And that is something that's hard to let go of, especially, if it's something that will help you lose weight or help improve your health, to get rid of alcohol. Or if your family grew up eating lots of sweets, it's part of your culture, it's part of your upbringing, it's something hard to let go of, right? Or if it's a food that's always comforted you. Ice cream has always comforted you. It reminds you of something positive. It's hard to break that, okay? So that's a personal experience. The last cause of emotional eating is cultural influences. So again, this kind of ties into personal experiences. Like if you are Indian, for example, and rice is such a big part of your culture, roti is a big part of your culture, a lot of these carbohydrates are a huge part of your culture, right? And it's very hard for you to let go of those foods because it is part of something you grew up with, right? That is difficult, and we always want those foods because it reminds us of our culture. It is an attachment to our family, right? And I'm not saying you need to give up all these foods, definitely not, but if we're somebody that suffers from inflammation, if we are diabetic, if we have a lot of chronic health issues, for example, or if weight loss is one of your goals, these are definitely foods that we should limit, right? So that is really why, although we know the right foods to eat, it's difficult for us to do that. It's because of emotional eating. So now that I kind of discussed what emotional eating is, I do want to go into the good, the bad, and the truth about emotional eating and how you can overcome it, okay? So yes, there is some good to emotional eating, and I'll explain why. The good news about emotional eating is that if you're able to recognize that you're emotionally eating, that is the first step. The first step is acceptance, right? So me, for example, like I know that I was a stress eater for a very, very long time, right? And even today, guys, like I still get into, stressful moments. We all do. Stress will never go away. But how I respond to that situation is the game changer, right? Whether you give in or you fight through it, right? And so the first step is to recognize that we are emotionally eating, right? And then it also is good that we are in touch with our emotions, right? We know that there is something that we need to fix, okay? There's some void that we need to fill, right? So if we're bored, if we're lonely, if we're sad, if we're angry, if we're stressed, like we know we have to do something about it. That's not food related, hopefully. So that shows that you are in touch with your body. So that is the good news about emotional eating, okay? The bad news about emotional eating, guys, is that it 1,000% negatively impacts your health and your weight loss goals. So that's one of your priorities. So it makes the journey seem like virtually impossible, okay? That, we know the right foods to eat, but we just can't seem to eat them. It's just not really on our radar. We don't want to do it. We're not motivated. A lot of people say that. We have these intense cravings, like, oh my God, like I can't go a night without ice cream, or like after dinner, I have to have chocolate, or we are just so used to these patterns that we created over the years, right? And then when we don't have these foods, right, when they're taken away from us, we feel deprived. We have this stronger yearning for these foods. Why? Because we have these tremendous relationships, these attachments to these foods for multiple, reasons. And so it is really hard to really lose the weight that we want if we want to eat ice cream all the time, or like we can't imagine, not having pizza a few days a week, or whatever your food attachment is, or the wine, for example. If you're used to having it, 3 glasses every single night, right? You've been doing it for how many years? It helps you. It's hard to break that cycle, right? And that's going to really affect your weight loss goals and your health goals, of course, okay? And I'm Italian, I love wine, but, right, we have to learn how to live in moderation, right? Not all or nothing. We have to learn to work in shades of gray, I call it, right? Not black and white, shades of gray. So that is why emotional eating will really make your weight loss journey seem impossible. Okay, I promise you that. So second reason why it negatively affects your weight loss journey and is bad for our health too is that we tend to cheat on any diet. So like I said earlier, guys, like we can know exactly what foods to eat. We can have a meal plan written out for us. We can have a fitness routine that we're sticking to and we're really good about it. And then we're still not getting the results that we want, okay? And the reason why is because we're snacking or we're drinking more than we should, right? We're still doing more damage than we really want to admit, right? And I see this all the time. You know, I've worked in multiple gyms over the years, and I've worked with people that are like, Kristin, like I work out 5 days a week. I eat really healthy. I don't understand why I'm not losing this weight. My body's not changing. I've actually gained weight, right? And the reason is because we are falling off the wagon more than we'd like to admit on this diet. We are sneaking in licks and bites and tastes, right? My Weight Watchers people know what I'm talking about there. And so we are unable to stick to anything consistently, right? Because we are constantly falling off the wagon and then we can't get back on. We're checked out, right? We tried, we failed, and then we're done. I call that self-sabotaging, okay? And emotional eating is directly linked to self-sabotaging because when we can't seem to give up these foods, it makes any diet seem impossible and we want to quit, right? And that's why we have no consistency. We don't have the motivation. And the truth of the matter, guys, is what happens is we are way more motivated to eat these foods, right? All these, chips and popcorn and chocolate and cookies and donuts, whatever it is. We're way more motivated to eat those foods than not, okay? Because the cost, right? The consequence of not eating them, how we feel when we don't eat them, feeling deprived, that is way worse than the cost of, eating them, right? So that's why we fail, because we don't understand, right? And we're not motivated enough to fix that. So that's the problem with emotional eating, guys. And that's why, like, every time I work with somebody, whether they know it or not at the time, emotional eating is a factor of why they're not successful in their weight loss journey, right? So here is the truth about emotional eating, right? Because there's good news here too, all right? Emotional eating, 1,000%, bottom line, guys, it sabotages your weight loss and your health goals. Okay, I want to be very honest about that. Diet and exercise alone will not cut it. I promise you. That's why if you've done 10 different diets, you tried all different shakes and supplements, and you worked out at 3 different gyms and nothing has worked in 10 years, it's probably because of something going on up here, right? And in our field, we call that mindset. Okay, and I've said this before, we hear this 80-20 rule a lot when it comes to weight loss and nutrition. It's like 80% diet, 20% fitness, right? Or we live in 80-20, 80% clean, 20% moderation, whatever. How I look at this, guys, the weight loss journey, okay, is 80% mindset, okay? So overcoming emotional eating, creating that motivation that withstands everything. 80% that mindset, and then 20% nutrition and exercise, right? And this is me. I'm a personal trainer. I do nutrition for a living, but I am telling you guys, after all of my years of serving people on the weight loss journey, it's all up here, y'all, here, okay? And that's why emotional eating is a topic so near and dear to my heart. I'm actually working with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition on their emotional eating psychology course, which starts next week. I'm helping students and coaches through all their course studies because this is something I love to do. So here, guys, it is totally possible to overcome emotional eating. I did it. I help people do it. It's totally possible, but it does require your time and your energy to really dig deep into those 4 root causes of your emotional eating, right? The stress factor, right? And like I said before, it's not just stress, right? Anger, grief, all these things we're dealing with and how to manage those circumstances and those emotions, right? So, dealing with the stress, number 1. Number 2, the body image, okay? Working through that. Number 3, your food relationships, improving your food relationships. And number 4, our cultural influences, right? So those attachments to certain foods. So if you are committed to weight loss, and I've talked about this before, guys, there is a difference between being interested in weight loss and being committed to weight loss. If we're interested, we do all this research, we try different diets, we go to the gym, right? Maybe, but we don't last very long, right? We don't really do anything consistently. We don't really get the results that we want. That's because we're interested. We're not committed. Committed means that you are willing to do whatever it takes, right? And if you know there's something going on up here, right, you're willing to work on that, right? If you don't have the motivation, if you don't have the consistency, if looking at a salad makes you sick, because you're like, I can't touch vegetables. It's just, I'm not a vegetable person. I'm not a morning person. I can't get up and exercise, or I can't get myself moving, right? I can't plan ahead. All these can'ts, like putting labels on yourself, that's here, right? And so in order to be committed to weight loss and to get the results that you want, we have to be willing to do what it takes. Put that time and energy into working up what's here, because that's the only way you're gonna get the results. So remember, I'm gonna ask you, are you interested in weight loss, or are you committed to weight loss and your health, for that matter? Everyone I talk to, they're like, yeah, I want to lose weight, but of course I want to be healthy. And they go hand in hand, right? So if you're committed to your goals, okay, I am here to help you, right? Especially if after watching this video today, that emotional eating and lack of motivation, for that matter, is something that you're struggling with, okay? So if you're ready, if you're committed to your goal and to overcome this adversity, I'm here to help you, okay? All you gotta do, book a free call with me, guys. createmyweight.com/apply, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like to conquer this emotional eating, okay? And finally get that motivation and have that consistency and the discipline and get the results that you want. And no, I'm not gonna take away your French fries, your pizza, your wine, your chocolate, your ice cream, you name it. I'm not gonna take it away from you. Those of you who know me, I eat chocolate every single day. I've been eating ice cream several days a week this week. And I never want to deprive anybody that I work with of those foods, because I want this to be a lifestyle. No one is motivated to give up ice cream for the rest of their life. That's insane, right? I'm not even motivated to do that. So I wanna show you how you can eat these foods, right, and not feel deprived and still lose the weight you want, right? This way you're motivated and you create this life that you want. So if that is your vision and you are committed to that vision of that leaner, healthier, happier you, give me a call, okay? createmyweight.com/apply, schedule that call with me, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. All right, guys, have a great Friday. Talk to you soon. Bye.